Dennis, you've given away a little bit of the secret. I'm going to show you a picture because I think, like a lot of Penn athletes, you try to take advantage of every opportunity that you get at a school. I want you to look at this picture and see if you can tell us a little bit about this person.
Doris and I met in April of '73, my junior year. We met, the occasion of our meeting was the Friars Senior Society Spring Dinner. And myself and the other new inductees, we were gathering around outside of the quad, waiting for our transportation to take us to the Wharton Sinclair estate where the dinner was going to be held. A bus shows up and this woman walks off of the bus, stunning, in this burgundy mini dress with legs that just seem to go on forever. And I'm thinking, you know, I wondered about her and thinking like, oh, this I got to meet this lady. But I didn't have the nerve to introduce myself yet. So we're now at dinner. And at some point, you know, the MC of the dinner says, okay, it's time for a little entertainment. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it until Doris had introduced herself as the bus monitor. So she was there to make sure that the undergrads were under control, that we didn't, you know, get too rowdy on the bus.
That would be you, Dennis.
Yeah. And so now we're at the dinner. The MC says, time for entertainment. The bus monitor gets up. I'm thinking like, what is going on here? So she gets up, and then David Naughton, Penn soccer fame, he gets up. And the thing about David Naughton, he would go on to become the Dr. Pepper guy, as well as the werewolf in American Werewolf in London. So Doris and David, they do this duet, and I am just blown away. So, you know, I don't know what to think. Who is this woman? Mm-hmm. You know, is she the hired entertainment? Does she work for the bus company? You know, what's going on here? So I finally managed to approach her. And I asked her, I said, you know, hi, I'm Denis Fikes. And let me say, some of you know that I have this hearing impediment. I can't distinguish certain sounds, certain decibels. So as an example, I cannot distinguish between rat, cat, hat. Things that sound the same, you know, until I place it in context, I don't know what's being said. So anyway, you know, I thought, I'm talking with her and I asked her for her name and, you know, where she was going to be performing again. I thought she said, or at least what I heard was Dolores and next Saturday at Houston Hall. So I said, oh, okay, you know. So that Saturday was the evening of HEPS, and HEPS were at Brown that weekend. Luckily, we were flying back from Providence. And so I land in time to get my bags back to my room, make it down to Houston Hall. I'm running up the steps. And just before going into the auditorium for the show, Doris and other cast members are out in the hallway there. I see her, I run over to her, give her a kiss, because that's what you do when you're from Spanish Harlem, you know? So I gave her a kiss, I went inside, watched the show. I was thoroughly entertained. I thought it was a great show, but I was exhausted. And so when the show was over, I left, I went home and went to sleep. It was a number of weeks before I saw Doris again, and we ran into each other at the intersection of 42nd and Spruce Street. We were coming in opposite directions, crossing the street. And so I waited for her, and we were chatting on the corner there, and she says, I found out something about you. And I'm thinking like, okay, what could she possibly have found out that she thought was intriguing enough to mention? So I said, oh, what did you find out? And she said, you're Peter Przeski's roommate. I'm thinking like, yeah, so, you know, big deal there.
Right.
Yeah, so she then says to me, Peter's sister, Abby, was my roommate. And I said, oh, you know, that's great. And so we chatted, and then she throws out this invitation. You know, she lives in the neighborhood. I was living in the neighborhood. Said, you should come by sometime. Maybe we can have dinner. And so, you know, about a week later, maybe even less, on a Friday, I'm hungry, typical male. It's like, okay, let me see if I can find Doris's apartment. Well, I found it. Tuna casserole was in the oven when I got there. We had dinner. After dinner, we decided to go for a walk. We went over to Woodland Cemetery, and we sat at the tomb of Thomas Evans, the dental school guru. We sat there till like past 3 in the morning.
Wow.
And I learned then that her name was Doris, not Dolores. And our wedding was at the Wharton Sinclair Estate, where we had that first dinner. It was the first wedding at Wharton Sinclair, and the rest is history.
Well, Dennis, you and Doris are both institutions. For those of us who have known you both, we can't imagine you guys ever being apart. So
Me either.
I hear you. So Dennis, before we close the program, I want to read a quote to you that that you said many, many years ago to still see if it still rings true when you look back at your career. And this is what you said. I feel since I have this God-given talent and I am from God, I have no right not to use it, not to develop it. As far as I'm concerned, it's an obligation for me to run. If God didn't give me the talent, then I wouldn't have run.
Well, you know, Ron, just like I don't remember that 4:15 mile. I don't remember saying that, and I'm not quite sure if it was in an interview for an article or something like that, but I can tell you this, it sounds like me. It is so truly me. And, you know, I don't know what God's plan is for me. I sincerely thought part of the plan was for me to become a brother, a Christian brother. I did not think the plan was for me to be an athlete, but I did become an athlete. I remember telling Coach Tupney that I would never be a coach, but I did that and thoroughly enjoyed it. At one point, and some of my teammates and younger Penn athletes that I met while I was at Wharton grad, they remember that I talked about taking my life at age 40 because I just didn't see the value of life after 40. Well, I'm so glad that that didn't happen.
And so great.
You know, so I still believe that God has a plan for me that he's not done yet. He or she is not done yet. And I'm still here.
Dennis, I can't thank you enough. I think for those alums, your friends, your family members that'll have an opportunity to see you, if there were a Mount Rushmore of Penn athletes or specifically track and field, Dennis, you would belong on that. I'd also say to the folks that are listening today, at some point, you've graciously agreed to do a live session where you'll get a chance to talk to some of your friends and your teammates. We look forward to that too. But Dennis, on a personal level, thank you for spending the time with me and with us. Again, you and Doris are both Penn icons, and we want to thank you for spending the time with us this evening.
Ron, I want to extend my thanks and my gratitude to you, to Kent, to Dave, to everyone that participated in this endeavor, and to Julio and Broadway Rafferty, Dave again, for Craig and for that crazy guy from the Bronx, you know, Matt Centerwoods, not to be confused with his great son Matthew.
Correct.
I mean, and for everybody who played a role in this, just thanks a lot. It's I really appreciate it and feel much gratitude.